Trinet innovations. So in this event, the majestic event, so we are representing Artificialization, the Tech Talk series organized by Trinet Innovation Private Limited, which consists of artificial intelligence based discussion series with based on finance, music, history, art, and physics, robotics, and many things, etc. So today, the initiation process, we are inviting Mr. Takshila Tilakanayaka. So before going to that, I'm going to explain what is the program is. So in this program, we are conducting a 5-day discussion round. So in this discussion round, as you can see, there are maybe quizzes, presentations, and many comparisons. So stay tuned with us. So first of all, I forward my towards my gratitude to Mr. Takshila Tilakanayaka, so our special guest, special speaker in this event. So talking about our speaker today, Mr. Takshila Tilakanayaka, he's a graduate engineering trainee in engineering, and he's also a senior lecturer of Academy of Innovative Education. Of course, other than that, visiting lecturer at University of Vocational Technology, and also currently assistant lecturer at SLIT. And other than that, and he graduated from SLIT with BSc in Mechanical Engineering, Mechatronics specialization with first class honors. So, sir, I warmly invite you to get the podium of our virtual podium of our discussion. So, sir, the virtual podium is up to you.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Vidura, can you please allow me to share my screen?
Yeah, give me a second. Okay.
Yes, thank you. Right. So again, thank you, Vidura. So I will welcome you all again, all the AI enthusiasts here. Right. So today it's a great day. So I'm quite pleased to participate in this event. As a startup, I congratulate all the members and all the members in the group of Vidura and other members of Artificial. And so I congratulate them for their future career and their future in achieving their future goals. So I wish them all the best, right? So today, as Vidura mentioned, what we are going to do is we are going to have a discussion about AI and the recent developments and challenges, as well as the potential applications and the future of AI in Sri Lanka. So those are the main topics that we are going to discuss today, right? So later we will be having a question and answer session, right? Q&A session. So you are quite welcome to ask me and ask any questions you may have in the field or from the talk that we are going to conduct now. So you can always ask questions if you have any, right? So I have seen the participant list, and I saw that a few of my students also are there, right? So I'm quite happy to have them here. So as Vidura mentioned, we are going to discuss about the AI, right? So the future of AI, the current level and the current applications and the let's say the challenges ahead, right? So those kind of things. But I assume that all of you, right? So all of you are having a basic knowledge on AI, what is AI, what is machine learning. But let me give you an introduction about uh, artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, neural network, those kind of things. There might be that might be participants who doesn't have any basic knowledge on AI, or like those are interested in AI but without any prior knowledge, right? Uh, so before going on to that, I want to, as Vidura and other members requested, I wanted to give you some like I want to give you a motivation, right? So actually, now I'm working in the AI, machine learning, deep learning fields for like for almost 6 years now, right? So I have been involving in several projects as well as research and lectures and workshops. I'm conducting workshops. So I wanted to, and our organizing committee wanted me to explain you about my journey, right? So as I can remember, in 2015, I was in my university undergraduate. I was undergraduate in that year 2015. So we have several projects going, right? So student projects, undergraduate projects. So I selected something related to AI, right? So it was a very simple application, and the task was to task simply was to identify whether a driver is sleepy, right, or drowsy, sleepy or not, right? So if he's going like, if he's sleepy, what we have to do is, if the driver is sleepy, what we have to do is we have to turn on a buzzer and notify him, right? So anyway, wake him up, wake him or her up, right? So that was the project. So that was a very simple thing. I mean now, but in 2014, 2015, it was a big task, right? So now you may have seen in YouTube or internet, right? So we have thousands, right? 10,000s, 100,000s of tutorials, books, video tutorials, YouTube channels available in the internet, right? So you can learn anything, right? With YouTube and Google, right? But in that time, it was not like that. But so what I did was, yes, AI was not that much. Yeah, AI was there, machine learning was there, deep learning was there, but not that much popular, right? So I'm talking about like 6 years back. So what I did was, yes, indeed, I searched in the internet and I followed some books anyway. So what I wanted to tell you, right? So it's something that I had the, yeah, I didn't have the knowledge. I didn't have the skill with me, right? AI, machine learning, deep learning, no any prior knowledge, but I had the passion in me, right? So I really wanted to learn these things, right? I really wanted to learn these things. I had the passion. So with few of resources, I managed to do my work, the uh, sleep detector, right? So I was I completed that project, right? And that was the start, right? So what I had was not the knowledge or the skill, but what I had was the passion in me, right? So I really wanted to learn that, right? So if you are a beginner, if you are a, I mean, that's the turning point. And from that point onwards, now I'm conducting workshops throughout Sri Lanka and several institutes as well. And so now I'm kind of not saying as expert, but I'm working in the field, machine learning, deep learning, and AI, right? So that's my path, and that's where it started. So I encourage you, right? So you also can do this if you are like a beginner, and if you are looking for a start, right, in the field of AI, machine learning, deep learning. So that will be an encouragement for you, right? So you can start, you can do anything, right? You can become a skilled person in this field. What you have to have is the passion inside you, right? So if you really want to do this, yes, you can. You can find the resources, you can find anything, and you can learn step by step. So I will share you some resources at the end as well. So let's now start and go through the content of our uh, program. Right. Yes, Vidura, sure.
So yeah, I think you all got a motivation and get a clear understanding how we can proceed with the AI journey with his experience. So now I have a question, sir. So my question is now the artificial intelligence. So it's in 21st century, it's a relatively new topic. So with artificial intelligence, we know deep learning, NLP, there are many subtopics that cover the whole scenario. So in world perspective, so world is going through a rough time now. You know, everybody is suffering from COVID-19 pandemic in this decade. So 2020 to 2030 decade. So how will the world gonna accept these AI challenges, or how the world will go on this AI journey? Can you please explain about it?
Yeah, sure. Now, Vidura and others, yes, AI plays a major role, right? So indeed, with the COVID-19 pandemic, yeah, we are also suffering from if you are a student, let's say you are undergraduate, most probably uh, for like almost a year now, I assume that you are at your home, right? So you won't get the hands-on experience in most of your modules in your university, right? So if you are, I mean, undergraduate, right? So we are suffering a lot, right? But everything has two sides, right? Right. So this is something I believe, right? So everything has two sides. Everything has pros and cons, right? Pros and cons, right? Positives, negatives, right? So this is a good time, right? Where we can accept the challenges and get the help of AI, right? So now I have seen lots of projects and lots of uh, applications related to COVID-19, right? So COVID-19 prediction using kind of like the predicting the spread, right? And I saw some apps are there, right? So the apps which can give the the risk of a particular area, right? Or let's say that you download the app and that app says, okay, this area is not safe, right? So it's colored in red, it's colored in green. This area is safe, right? So likewise, all of these applications are, I mean, not all, but some of them are related to AI. I mean, based on AI, right? Yes. So that kind of challenges are there, and I think I have seen that most of the developers, they try to adapt AI into these things and try to develop apps like that, and where the neural networks and machine learning models are integrated, right? But apart from COVID-19, yeah, indeed we have other interesting applications in AI in the 21st century, right? So I'm not talking about like 2010, 2000 or 2010, but mostly after 2015, right? So after 2015, like machine learning, deep learning, AI, right? So you see, there was a rapid development, right, in many fields, right? So I will come to that. I mean, I will discuss with you some practical examples and some day-to-day applications where AI is used, right? But before going on to that, let me since most of you are beginners to here, let me explain what is this AI, machine learning, and deep learning. Like I will take few minutes and explain this, and let me go to the practical applications of AI in the real world in 21st century, right? Okay, so AI, simply, AI is the application, right? Or AI is where simulation of human intelligence in machine that are programmed to think like humans and mimic their actions. So that's the definition, kind of a definition, one of the definitions. But I will give you a very simple definition, right? So AI is any application, right, where we can replicate human behavior or human capabilities, right? So if a machine can do anything that a human can do, that's the application of AI. So that's how we can simply identify AI, right? So we can drive cars, right? So does computers. Self-driving cars are there now. So self-driving cars, the application of AI, right? So we can speak, or we can translate something from one language to another language, isn't it? Right? So we can, right? So we can, like, let's say we have something in Sinhala, written in Sinhala, so we can translate it to English. Yes, the Google Translator does that, right? So that's the application of AI. Yes, human can translate something from one to another language. Yes. So AI also can do that. Mobile phones can do that. So machines can do that. So that's the application of AI, right? Got it? So we have several applications now. There are now programs where we can apply, we can upload X-ray image of our chest, and it's going to predict whether that patient is having COVID-19 or not, right? So that's simply, I mean, a doctor can do that, right? A human can do that. By examining X-ray, yes, doctor can say that whether this patient having COVID-19 or not, right? So does mobile apps, computer applications, web application. So they also can do that. So that's the application of AI. So think about that. Anything a human can do. If a machine can do that, right? If you can develop a machine which can do something that a human can do, so that's the application of AI, right? So artificial intelligence. So we do our day-to-day applications using our intelligence. So anything, the same thing, if like let's say those applications, if those things can be performed or done using a machine, so that's called application of artificial intelligence, right? So then you have a subset of artificial intelligence. So you can see the machine learning. Machine learning is inside AI. So machine learning is simply the algorithms, right? Or the technologies, techniques, and we can say tools, right? Algorithms, techniques, tools that we use to, right, implement AI applications. Oh, now in AI, machines are doing what humans can do, right? So in order to train those machines, or in order to learn those machines, right? So we use the section called machine learning. So in machine learning, you will find some algorithms, techniques, or we say tools, right? So whatever the tools, algorithms, and techniques that we are going to use to learn something to a machine, that's called machine learning, right? Understood? So inside machine learning, you have another subset, deep learning. So deep learning is a subset of machine learning, you can see clearly, right? So deep learning is quite the same like machine learning. It's also about algorithms, right? So it's also about computer algorithms. And what's the specialty about deep learning, right? So what's the specialty about deep learning? Similar to machine learning, it's about algorithms, trainable algorithms, where the algorithms we are going to use to train a machine, right? So now machine in the sense like it can be a computer, it can be a mobile phone, it can be any electronic device, a machine, right? So we are machine in the sense a machine which can perform something that something human can do, right? So deep learning again, what's the difference between machine learning and deep learning, right? So deep learning is also about algorithms, but in deep learning, that algorithms that we are going to use are called ANNs, or we say artificial neural networks, right? So what's the difference between machine learning and deep learning? Deep learning is a high-level version of machine learning where ANN, artificial neural networks, are used as algorithms. Now, you may be wondering, okay, what are the algorithms that machine learning uses? So in machine learning, we have some classic algorithms. So we say classic algorithms, so we can say like low level or middle level algorithms, right? But ANN, deep learning, use high level version of machine learning, and they use advanced set of algorithms. They are called neural networks. Now, I'll give you a simple example, right? Deep learning is used for high-level applications. That means if you take a self-driving car, you never implement a self-driving car using machine learning algorithms. No, it's that much. It's a complicated. I mean, it's a complex application, right? It's a complex task. But a deep learning algorithm, like a neural network, to be exact, a convolutional neural network can can be used to implement a self-driving car, but not machine learning. So deep learning is an advanced version of machine learning where it's used for very complex applications like self-driving cars and other things. Right? I hope you understood the thing behind AI, machine learning, and deep learning. And give me few more minutes, right? So I will explain that main types of machine learning. There are three main types. I'm talking about three main types. Some subcategories are also there: supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement learning. So these are the main three types of algorithms available in machine learning. So machine learning can be divided into three main categories like this. And the algorithms I told you, right? So we have three main types: supervised, unsupervised, reinforcement. And supervised is simply like we are going to find a relationship between a dependent variable and an independent variable like x and y, right? Unsupervised learning is simply about understanding hidden structures, hidden patterns in data. So reinforcement learning is about 100% self-learning. So it's a agent acting in an environment and it's learning itself with the objective of maximizing reward, right? So reinforcement learning is a very hot topic, and it's a very, it's recently, recently there was a very, there was a breakup. There was several research and there were several new projects related to reinforcement learning. So I think not supervised and unsupervised, but the future will be reinforcement learning since it's 100% about self-learning. But supervised and unsupervised are not that much about self-learning, but reinforcement learning, I will explain these things in detail. So these are the algorithms that I discussed about. Like if we take supervised, unsupervised machine learning, we have support vector machine, naive Bayes, nearest neighbors, those kind of things, right? And unsupervised learning, we have some algorithms like clustering, k-means, hierarchy. So these are machine learning algorithms. So these algorithms are used to train or learn a machine in order to replicate human behavior, right? So these are some of the algorithms available. And reinforcement learning, I'm not going to discuss about in detail, right? But since the time is not enough, I'm going to explain you briefly about these things, right? So these are the reinforcement learning algorithms, right, available. If you come back here, so supervised learning is about, as I mentioned, is trying to identify a relationship between two variables, independent and a dependent variable, right? So what do you mean? Like self-driving car is an application of supervised learning, categorized under supervised learning, self-driving cars, right? So in self-driving cars, we are trying to identify the relationship between the image captured from a camera attached to the self-driving car, the camera attached to the self-driving car in the front of the, in the front of the car, and it's going to map it to the steering angle. So we are trying to learn a relationship between what? The relationship between two variables, the image and the steering angle. So we are trying to identify the relationship between them. So that's what you call supervised learning. And if you come to the unsupervised learning is something like identifying hidden pattern structure of a of some data, right? So if you take, for example, unsupervised learning, what are the applications now? Let's say films, right? So now you see that films can be categorized into several applications, several types, right? Thrillers, documentary, right? Horror, right? Likewise, so likewise, identifying hidden structures and identifying hidden characters, patterns, and clustering, or one of the most frequently used example in unsupervised learning is clustering. Right? So we use like data and we analyze the data and we identify hidden patterns and we cluster them into different clusters. Right? So reinforcement learning is about self-learning, right? 100% self-learning. So let's say you are in a game, right? So you don't know anything, right? A ping pong game, let's say. So if you have a reinforcement learning algorithm there, it's going to identify how the, how the marks or how the score, how the game, how for which action I'm going to get the score, right? So likewise, analyzing it and do it by self-learning. So that's what you call reinforcement learning. And if you come to deep learning is the future. Machine learning is a bit outdated and they use classical algorithms, and that's a bit, we are hardly using machine learning now. So the future and like what we are frequently using is deep learning neural networks. So we, hardly use these algorithms these days, right? Since neural networks are the advanced version, so we use neural networks as our training algorithms for machines, most of them. So there are lots of applications like face recognition, image classification, speech recognition, text-to-speech generation, handwriting transcription, machine translation, self-driving cars, social recommendations. I can give like thousands of examples, right? So there are lots of applications. So actually deep learning neural networks came into play in 2006. So this is a very, this is the latest technology, right? Came into play in 2006, deep learning, the concept called deep learning, right? But the initial idea was there in 1943, right? The artificial neural networks, so they are, right? Artificial neural networks are actually inspired by human neurons and our neuron system, right? So in 1943, they tried to, they try to simulate our, the a neuron in our neuron system in an electronic circuit, right? So that was the first ever attempt recorded, and then eventually here we are now, and we use data sets and we use lots of neural network types, and here today we are in a very advanced level in terms of neural networks, right? So most of the companies throughout the world, they use neural networks for their production, for their their production and their marketing campaigns, and their several applications, right? So these are the leading companies, those who use neural networks for their several applications, right? So deep learning is also can be categorized into same supervised, unsupervised, reinforcement, right? So the same definition like machine learning, but the only difference, deep learning use neural networks as algorithms, right? So these are the, like quickly I will explain you, these are the neural network types, the main neural network types available under each section. So if you take supervised learning, you can see that in supervised learning, we have several neural network types: feed-forward neural networks, convolutional neural networks, and recurrent neural networks. So these are the three main types. And fourth one is kind of a hybrid model of the main three encoder-decoder architectures. But the three main types are feed-forward, convolutional, and recurrent. For example, feed-forward neural networks are used in very simple applications, very lightweight applications. Convolutional neural networks are used in applications where pattern recognition, image classification, any image-based application, face recognition, image classification, object detection, video analysis, right? Anything, any image-related thing, we use convolutional neural networks, right? Or any pattern recognition things, right? And recurrent neural networks, the other type, we use to analyze time series data. right? Time series data. Any idea what I mean by time series data? Any example? Can you provide any example? What is time series data? For time series data, any idea? What do you mean by time series data? Anything? Yes, you can use your chat. I'm quite happy to see your feedback. Yes.
And also, participant can unmute your mic and speak to the speaker. It's no problem because since it's a discussion type, so right.
Yes, very good. Stock market, very good, Salia. Now, yes, time series. Yes. So whatever thing you can, I mean, what anything you can plot in this kind of a time series. Okay, stock market. Yes, it has patterns, right? Yes, stock market and demand, right? So let's say kind of a biscuit, right? Lemon puff, right? Cream cracker, right? Demand of products, right? Temperature, right? Anything, any time series data, right? For those kind of applications, we use recurrent neural networks, right? And convolutional neural networks are commonly used for image-based, face recognition, object classification, those kind of things, right? And encoder-decoder architecture is something actually kind of we are going like by like hybrid model of these three. Right? So they are called encoder. We can combine feed-forward, convolution, or recurrent together and create neural networks. So they are called encoder-decoder architectures as well. And if you go to unsupervised learning, we have two main types: generative adversarial networks and autoencoders. Autoencoders are used for noise removal applications, right? Noise removal applications, mainly denoising applications. Now, don't think always like, okay, removing noise in images. No, we can like, let's say we can give an input like a music track, and this can extract only the voice from that, right? So if you give a brain tumor image, right? CT scan or X-ray image of your brain, right? So this can extract where the tumor is, right? So those kind of denoising applications we can use autoencoders. And second type of under unsupervised learning is generative adversarial networks. This is this is the latest neural network, right? So this was invented in 2014, right? So it's a, latest neural network invented by Ian Goodfellow, right? Ian Goodfellow in 2014 in his PhD. So this is used for fake data generation. Fake data generation. For fake data generation, in the sense now we can provide something and we can get music tracks. We can generate faces. Right? We can generate faces, fake faces. So there are lots of applications. So this is a very, a latest application. Now, why I say latest? Now this is in 2014, right? So we are in our A level or our O level, we use something like the theories and the concepts invented in 1980s, right? Right. 18th century, let's say, right? 18th century, 17th century, right? So we are learning those concepts, but this is something invented in 2014, so latest thing, right? So then under reinforcement learning, we have deep QNets. So only one type of neural networks available, deep QNets, and a very advanced type neural network. This is purely self-learning type neural network, and there are some categories under deep QNets like double deep QNets, deep policy gradient methods. Likewise, we have several other types, but deep QNet is the main type, right? Understood? So these are this is what we need to focus on, since neural networks are the future, right? Not machine learning. Machine learning, yes, we'll use, but it's a bit outdated, right? So the latest thing is deep learning neural network. So these are the neural network types in our day-to-day life that we are going to find, right? So you know something about AI, machine learning, and deep learning now, and also about neural networks. So if you go back to AI, so AI is anything, right? Any application performed by a machine, right? If a machine can replicate human behavior or human capabilities, that's called application of artificial intelligence, right? So shall we see some recent developments and some real world applications of AI, right? So before going on to that, so now I'm going to explain you a few, we are going to discuss and we are going to see some video clips and we are going to see the real world applications of AI. But I'm quite happy if you have any questions before that. I'm happy to answer if you have anything to know. Yes, any doubt you may have quickly.
Just a clarification. It's my question, actually. So we are using encoder decoder architecture. Can we use an example of? Let's say I want to translate English conversation to another language conversation. So can we use encoder decoder architecture to remove? Let's say there is a crowd in some place. There are English people and there are Japanese and there are lots of various languages. There are some people who are talking the various languages. So we want to extract only English. So can we use encoder decoder architecture to proceed this action, or do we have queue?
Yes, Vidra. So is it a kind of a, I think I assume that you are referring to classification, right? So you want to understand, you want to only extract English, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you can do, right? So what you can do is you can first have a classification type neural network where you are going to like give a voice input converted to a, let's say, a kind of a array using kind of a, we are going to use to voice and we are going to convert it to, array. We have several methods of doing that. And then after that, we can input it to a neural network where that neural network is trained for language classification. So that neural network says, okay, this is the language English. So then you can take that language and transfer it to the next neural network and convert it to another language. Yes, that's quite possible, right? So that's actually how the models are working. So you can combine several neural networks and create it. So
thank you.
Yeah, that's kind of example. And there are two neural networks involved in that, right? Right. Right. So any other questions probably you may have?
Feel free to unmute. It's okay.
Yes. If you have any question related to anything related to AI.
I think up till now, there's no question. You can proceed.
Right. So I will start with a very interesting thing, right? So transportation sector, logistics sector, right? So this is how AI is used, and what I'm going to show you is not the latest thing, but this was invented in 2016, right? So let's see. Right, so this is a project done by NVIDIA. Right? 2016, 2017. And they are NVIDIA BB8, as I can remember. So this is a self-driving car. Right, so you can see self-driving. So it's basically identifying the objects and traffic lights and everything, and detects the lane, right? Detects lanes and drives, right? So there is a human for the safety, right? So we can't trust AI. I will discuss about AI safety as well at the end, but we can't trust it, right? 100%. So there is a human, right? But this is performing quite well, right? So you can see, right? So performing quite well. So this is like, I mean, this is not a mathematical, yeah, it's a mathematical model, but it's not like kind of not written in if conditions, right? So if this, do this, no, not like that. This is 100% trained on millions of data, right? So they have collected millions of images of roads and steering angles and everything, millions of data of human drivers, and this is the output, right? So this is a supervised learning, right? Basically, this tries to get the, you can see cameras are attached in the side mirrors as well. So it's going to get the image, right, from a camera, and then it maps it to the steering angle simply, right? So this is something again related to uh, self-driving car. So this is in MIT University. So this is Alex Friedman, expert in AI. So anyway, they have built a self-driving car in MIT University as well, and it's already like they have achieved that level. Now they are looking forward to driver activity recognition, right? So driver activity recognition. So they simply so we can, I mean, the self-driving is already there. So they are now trying to identify the activity. I mean, they are trying to recognize the driver activity, right? So you can see. Right? So now, while the car, you can see that's the identifying the driver activities, right? Right? So cool, right? And yes, this is not kind of a real thing, but interesting. Let's see. This is advertisement actually. Right? So mainly in self-driving cars, most of it up to now, they have used convolutional neural networks, and they always try to spread the steering angle and other signals. And recently they are trying to use reinforcement learning, fully self-learning car, right? So fully self-driving cars, right? With without prior training. Now, the important thing, like NVIDIA, also MIT, those things are applications of supervised learning. So that means they are trained based on past human data, the data of human drivers. But reinforcement learning is something not like that. It's about pure self-learning. So they are trying to now implement self-driving cars with zero prior human data, zero prior training, right? So then, yeah, we have several applications. Yes, let's see. Yeah, robotics. See, now this is a robot. I hope you may have seen. This is a robot developed by Boston Dynamics, right? So now see that, right? So how stable it is, right? How stable it is now. There are like several applications of AI are used inside these things. Now, the most important thing, you may be thinking this is not a simple thing. This is like programming a robot, right? No, right? We always can walk, right? So we can walk without any issue, right? So we are walking day-to-day life. We can run even, right? But there is a very complex, right? There's a very complex dynamics and mathematical calculations are going from our brain and several things and control these dynamics and forces. Right? So that's how we walk, right? So we have to do those things mathematically in these models, right? So you know how it's hard to I mean, like let's say a baby to walk for the first time, right? But they are doing it in robots, right? So AI is definitely a part of these kind of robots, right? So Boston Dynamics, a leading robotic robotics research company in the world, based on USA, right? So robotics, transportation, and logistics, and let me show you one applications like health care, right? Uh, AI for healthcare, right? So AI is everywhere.
Is the symbiotic relationship between the human and machine that brings the magic of AI to medicine in a meaningful way.
Now we have the tools to make a huge difference to human life. Cancer research is increasingly powered by data. Those data remain siloed across institutions.
We're creating a data ecosystem that allows people to share data and making sure that we're doing that in a way that still maintains the privacy of the patients.
With the power of AI, we can go after the unknown. And I can guarantee that we'll find something that nobody expected.
Sudden-Frontier syndrome scares every
Right.
mother and father, and it is a problem we have to change. The collaboration with Microsoft AI for Health will help to start this next step of our discovery. Our data show very convincingly clear correlation between smoking and SIDS. Patients' changing behavior can save children's lives. You cannot measure the benefit of that.
It's a sad day when the patient comes in and I can't impact them.
Through AI for Health, we will be building an AI solution that can autonomously diagnose diabetic retinopathy.
Right. So up now they have now up to now we have a question. I will ask that at the end. Sri Ram, I will definitely answer your question. Now, up to now, they have explained mainly three, right? Cancer database. They are developing cancer data sets and trying to identify the relationship between these cancer patients and try to like identify the causes and the reasons behind those cancers, right? And the second time was like DNA engineering. So they are trying to analyze the DNA using AI and remove these defects in DNA, right? And the third one was about dynamic retinopathy. So detection of diabetic retinopathy. So it's quite hard to detect by, using X-ray image, but AI and the speech extraction methods available in convolutional neural network is quite simple to extract the features of diabetic retinopathy, right? So likewise, I can give now even in healthcare, we can have lots of examples. Now, I'm not going to go through the full video, but what I want you to understand, right? So AI is everywhere. We can't categorize it to one field like, okay, transportation, healthcare, robotics. No, we can use AI in everywhere, right? So let me show you an example, bit awkward. Let's see. Give me a second. I will share the sound with you. Nice instrumental track, right? Music track. But believe me, now this is something developed using a AI algorithm. Right? This is something built using AI, right? For music generation, we can use generative adversarial networks, right? So music industry, even we can use AI, right? So this is something very popular. Give me a second, right? Object detection. So now, right, AI is now we are defeated by AI, right? So AI algorithms, neural networks can detect objects, right, with the higher accuracy, with less error than us, right? I will show you that example, right? And these are some common applications, right? So this Google Translator, probably you may have seen. In your computer, you can, I mean, in your mobile phones, you can get this app, right? Which can, right? So this is like translating one language from to another language. So this is a application of natural language processing, and mostly recurrent neural networks are used for this kind of applications, natural language processing applications, right? So it can translate. Now even using augmented reality, they can convert it at the same screen, right? And chatbots, yes, another application of AI, again application of recurrent neural network based natural language processing, right? So we have very advanced chatbots, and this is again a supervised learning application, right? Where we are going to train with human conversations. We are going to get human conversations and train it, right? And yes, and yeah. And navigation, maps, right? Navigation and maps, we use AI, right, to identify the shortest path, not the shortest path, but the quickest path, the fastest route, right? Now, I hope that you are using Google Maps, right? So Google Maps always not, it's not giving you the shortest path or the shortest route, right? So what's giving? Google Maps, any idea? Is it giving you the shortest path or the shortest route, or what's it's giving? Any idea? Yes. It's giving you the quickest or the fastest route. Understood, right? So this is an application built by me, actually, a very simple web application where we can apply X-ray image and get the COVID-19, whether COVID-19 positive or negative, right? So this is using convolutional neural networks again, right? So healthcare. That's why I told you now we have hundreds of applications, and let me show you one last interesting thing related to reinforcement learning, right?
It is one of the simplest.
We play somebody
who give you a brief introduction about this video before playing, right? Now, this incident took place in 2016, right? So there's a company called DeepMind, and it was bought by Google later. So DeepMind, what they were doing, they were building a neural network which can play a game called Go. So this Go game is quite similar to chess, but it's complex than chess, and it's a Chinese game, and it's complex than chess. And they have built a neural network to play that, and they improved it into a very advanced level. And at the end, what they did was they arranged a match with the world champion of that game, Lee Sedol, the South Korean player, and he was 18-time world champion of that game. right? They arrange a match between the neural network and the 18-time world champion, and at the end, from 1.5 points, neural network won. Right? This is in the internet.
Is about to get underway in.
This is called AlphaGo, right? Very interesting thing.
Go is the world's
And full documentary, full video is available.
oldest continuously played board game. It is one of the simplest and also most abstract.
Professional player at Go is a long-standing challenge of artificial intelligence.
Everything we've ever tried in AI just falls over when you try the game of Go.
The number of possible configurations of the board is more than the number of atoms in the universe.
AlphaGo found a way to learn how to play Go.
So far, AlphaGo has beaten every challenge we've given it, but we won't know its true strength until we play somebody who is at the top of the world, like Lee Sedol.
A match like no other is about to get underway in South Korea.
Lee Sedol is to Go what Roger Federer is to tennis.
Just the very thought of a machine playing a human is inherently intriguing.
The place is a madhouse.
Welcome to the DeepMind Challenge.
The whole world is watching.
Can Lee Sedol find AlphaGo's weakness? Whoa. Is there, in fact, a weakness?
The game kind of turned on its axis.
Look at his face.
That is not a confident face.
It's developing into a very, very dangerous fight.
Ooh, hold the phone. Lee has left the room.
So now anyway, AI, like most of the applications, right? So AI applications, they have defeated humans, right? So I will come up with examples in a minute, right? So you can, I'll explain you with some examples, right? That AI is already defeated us, or has already defeated us, right? Okay, right. So yeah. So before going on to the next segment, it's chance to you, Vidura.
Yeah. So I mean, it was a great. I mean, the showing the practical scenarios of artificial intelligence. I mean, that will all. I mean, that would motivate us all. You know, that AlphaGo. And I also remember that the DeepMind company, that they have performed this the Go game. I mean, they have. I mean, according to the statistics, I mean, they were number one trending company at the tech guys around the tech companies in 2011, according to statistics. So they have proven they are very high success. So yeah, I mean, that where the world is going. So yeah, another question is coming up with in the chat section. I think we can answer in that QA session. Other than that, I want to ask another question. In Sri Lankan context, you know that Sri Lanka is a third world country. So as a third world country, you know, we have been facing many challenges and we have been doing some improvements. So in the AI context, so artificial intelligence is a relatively new subject to Sri Lanka. So what is your perspective regarding the Sri Lankan journey to the AI success? So in this decade, can you please explain about that?
Yes, Vidura. Now, I want to talk about another thing. I will do it after giving answer to your question, right? Sri Lanka, right? A very good question, and this is a very primitive level. AI is in a very primitive level in Sri Lanka, but still you have job opportunities in Sri Lanka. Lots of companies in Sri Lanka, they hire, even startups, they hire AI related undergraduates and even professionals, right? So lots of companies they are like John Keels and Orange IT and Virtusa, right? CodeGen, right? Atlas, Dialogue, right? And yes, these are personally, I know these things, these companies. I mean, there are opportunities, and some other startup companies are there. I mean, low scale, right? Startup companies are also there. Small scale companies are also there. So lots of opportunities are available for AI engineers, machine learning engineers, data analysis, right? And lots of fields. But no need to have a degree in AI. You can go with the a basic degree like related to computer science or computing, and also data science. So if you have major any module related to AI machine learning in your final years or third year, you can probably apply to that. And there are lots of MSCs are available. Give me a second. Right. Sorry about the interruption. Okay. Right. So what I was talking about, like there are lots of MSCs available in Sri Lanka. In University of Moratuwa, there is a master program offered by the mathematics department, artificial intelligence, and IIT. You have find the big data analysis, and in Colombo University you have a master program. The computer science master program, and even in University of Roy Peradeniya, there is a data science related master degree. So there are few opportunities available for masters in Sri Lanka. But anyway, if we come to the Sri Lankan perspective, I see a potential in these fields where we can implement AI. Right. So I see a potential, and I have personally involved in some projects in these sectors as well, right? They are in a very primitive levels now, right? Not in a practical, related. I mean, we can't exactly implement it in real world, but it is in a research level, right? So I have involved in several, and also, yeah, I have seen lots of students, undergraduate students are there. They are doing research, final year research related to these fields like agriculture, transportation and logistics, healthcare, security and law enforcement, right? So transportation and logistics, so in like morning and the evening, if you are in Colombo, the traffic, right? So right, so probably we can manage the traffic, right, with using AI. What I'm showing is not a real thing, so this is something like in a very primitive level, but right, still we can come up with very simple ideas like this and count the traffic and count the number of things. Like we can integrate this in a CCTV camera in every junction, and we can count each and every bikes or any other vehicles, right? So we can implement something like this, right? And also like there are several research undergoing related to this transportation field. These are some projects that actually still in a very primitive level, right? But we are trying to this was a a self-driving car. Actually, it measures the distance between cars, and we are trying to implement that, right? And there are lots of potentials, and I know lots of companies are still in the research level, and they are trying to do big things like coming in 5 years, probably, let's say, right? And this is one of the projects that I was involved in, farm harvesting, and here actually it measures. I'm not sure that you can see. It measures the distance, and this is in this was in a greenhouse, right? So each day we measure the height of these plants each day, using cameras, using image processing techniques, right? So harvesting and healthcare even. Now I have seen lots of undergraduate projects. So they are trying to build applications for autism, right? Childs with autism, students with autism, and several disorders, as well as they are trying to identify like several diseases like skin cancers and face diseases, several face-related diseases, right? Eyes-related diseases, and they are developing mobile applications. Yes, but officially there are not. I haven't seen a very advanced application up to now, but in primitive level, undergraduate level, yes, they have involved in lots of applications. And energy conservation. We are now. I'm doing my MPhil even in this field, energy conservation. So we are trying to identify we are trying to minimize the energy cost in a household environment, and we are trying to actually develop a plug and play solution where it automatically turn on and turn off the appliances in our houses, right? So likewise, energy conservation, field of energy. The thing is, AI can be applied in any field, right? What you have to know is you have to know the basics, and you have to know what the algorithm to be applied, right? And you can do lots of things. Now, I will show you a very simple example. Now, these are very simple things, but we can expand this and get not this one, sorry. So this is something that yeah, I did. Probably you may have seen this, right? So this is not ready to integrate in a real application, but with few modifications and few advancements, we can integrate this, right? So now we always, like, let's say in a building, we always manually inspect whether a person is with a mask or not without wearing a mask, right? But we can integrate this kind of a thing into a kind of CCTV camera, right? And automatically sound a buzzer or something when a person enters without a mask, right? So we can do lots of things. What I'm trying to say, yeah, there are few research going in undergraduate level and even individual scale, right? And even in company level, even in research and development teams in several companies, yes, they are trying small things, right? So what they and we want is some kind of sponsorship, right? So if someone is going to sponsor us, right? And I hope probably in 5 or 10 years there will be lots of Sri Lankan made AI related applications, as well as lots of things will be coming from the other countries as well, right? Right. So there are lots of applications where we can apply AI in Sri Lanka, right? AI in Sri Lanka, and also one important thing that I haven't talked about these things: social media in search engines and everything, right? So if you log into your Facebook, you will see ads. In YouTube and any social platform, you will see ads based on your search history, right? So that's how AI is there in our day-to-day life, right? Without knowing, you are using AI, right? So if you search something, from the next moment, you will see related ads in your social media platforms. Here's the application of AI, right? Google, yes, the leading AI company, AI company in the world, they are applying AI for their Google product currently, right? And e-commerce, right? So these like eBay and Alibaba, AliExpress, those kinds of e-commerce sites, yes, they analyze you, right? So you are not safe, your data is not safe, right? So you get suggestions. That means they know your behavior, right? That's why you are getting suggestions from Facebook and everything. They know your behavior, right? Your data. Google Maps, they get your data, right? So there are that side as well, right? Okay. So that's it, and I want to discuss about something related to AI safety. Vidura, is it possible? Like 5 minutes more?
It's all right, sir. No, it's all right.
right? So up to now we have talked about like the positives, right? The pros of AI, right? But no, AI has some negative side as well, right? Got it? So
Hello.
yes, yes. Right. So what I wanted to explain here, right? That now, if you are going to exam, right, you always get a mark, right? Always. Most of the times, right? Almost all the times you are getting a mark less than 100, right? It can be 98, it can be 90, it can 95. But it's quite hard to find a student who gets 100. Similarly, in AI also, we can't expect 100% accuracy, right? So these are some memes I found on Facebook and other places, right? So yeah, I'm not going to explain it, but yeah, there are these kind of things, right? So these are like for these are only memes for right, not real, but these kind of things can happen, right? These kind of things can happen, right? So Tesla, I hope you have seen this news, right? So self-driving car, right, crash and 2 dead. I'm not sure this was the correct one, but I saw it in several places. Yes, I hope this is true, right? And one important thing, this is convolutional neural networks, right? So we have to talk about AI safety as well. So it's not always safe to apply AI. We have to be supervisors, right? So supervision, human supervision should be there. We can't directly give everything to AI. We can't give the controllability to AI, right? So these kind of things can happen, right? It's not perfect. AI also have accuracy, 98, 99, 96. So this is something that I want to highlight. This is the history of image classification. And this is 2015, right? This is 2015, but I haven't taken the recent history. Those is 2015. I want to highlight 2015. Human was defeated by a neural network. One. This is the classification error. That means, so if someone give you 100 images, right? If someone give you 100 images, right? Humans can only identify 94.9. 5.1% are like they will be false predictions. So humans, yeah, we can't identify all the objects and all the things in the world, right? Understood? So we have 5% one error, but in 2015, humans were defeated by the ResNet, residual network, and it has only 3% 5. That means it has accuracy of 96.5, right? Classification accuracy, image recognition accuracy. But this is now even lower, right? Like 2%, 1%, right? Let me check you. Let me prove that we have a classification error, right? Okay, let's identify this animal. Can you identify this animal? Quickly. Quickly. We are running out of time. Quickly, if you can identify. Yes. This animal, someone, quickly. Tiger, okay. This animal. Lion, okay. This one and this one. Yes. Let me say 3 and 4. Yes, quickly. Someone can identify 3 and 4 quickly. Okay, 3 leopard, 4. 3 leopard, 4. 4, 4. Okay, 3 leopard, 4. 4 is also leopard. Anyone quickly? Right, very good. One got the correct answer, but others are wrong, right? See, this one is a jaguar. This one is a leopard, right? So they have their own, right? So they have their own features, right? So if you carefully inspect their head, their fur, right? So they are different to each other. So can you see now, you predict 4, and most of you, 4 of only out of 4, only 2 is correct. Tiger and lion are obvious, right? So your accuracy is 50, your error is 50. Some of you have given the correct answer, jaguar and leopard. Yes, humans, us, we have a classification error. But neural networks has defeated us. So one last thing about AI safety. Right? So this is what happens in AI if you, right? So this is a human player playing this game to win this game, right? And this is a reinforcement learning agent in the right side, right? So it's trying to maximize the score, right? So this is how, I mean, the left side, human plays the game. So he wants to be first, right? And this is a AI, reinforcement learning agent, plays the game. Let's see. So it's not worrying about finishing the game, what it's trying to do. See, it's trying to get the maximum score, right? Trying to get the maximum score, right? Yes, I mean, understood the difference, right? So AI is not 100% safe. AI is not 100% accuracy. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that any error is there in the right side one. Yes, it's not trying to finish the game. That's what we wanted, but it's trying to maximize the scope, right? So you have to, AI is not everything. AI should be supervised. So that's the final conclusion in this level, right? So we can't totally depend on AI, but there are improvements and there are things to be done in the future. So AI is not at its optimal level. It's still developing and it's still improving, right? Okay, so thank you, and now it's up to you, Vidura.
Yeah, actually a nice interpretation by user. So I was thinking that they identify the photos, so I was just confused about 3 or 4 photos. Is it a jaguar or something? So I was thinking that I mean, from my perspective, that human mind is identify the images like, I mean, they are contained long-term memory, short-term memory. So I mean, we have been facing some problems on memorizing what is this. I mean, lion, tiger, we know, but identify the other species that we are not familiar with that in day-to-day life. I mean, that is the, I mean that's the reason that most of us cannot get it. Isn't it right, sir?
Yes, exactly. But the thing is, yeah, that's the thing. But if you train a convolutional neural network identify the features differently, right? Got it? So neural networks, they are about, I mean, convolutional networks, if you take, they are about features. So it identifies features, jaguar separately, and this one separately. Now I can show you, right? I think the time is not relevant. So if you apply this to a convolutional neural network, it will definitely identify the jaguar and the leopard separately. Yes, we are not interested on that field, right? So that's something, yes, exactly. Now, if you ask a car model, right? So we are going to take a BMW and I'm asking, okay, is this a 5 Series, 3 Series? Yes, I'm interested in BMWs. So yes, I will definitely answer. But if I ask it from a girl, most probably, she won't be able to identify that car, whether it's a 5 Series or a 3 Series, right? But if someone asks me a color, right? So what's pink and purple, I probably fail on that, right? So I still, I can't identify the difference between the purple and this several colors. But if I ask it from a girl, yes, they have a wide area of colors, right? So that's depend on the, I mean, the area of interest. So if you are not interested about, I'm interested about Panthera. Panthera in the sense lions, big cats. So Panthera, we have 5: lions, tiger, leopard, jaguar, and snow leopard. So those are the 5 species available in the Panthera family. So I'm quite familiar, so I can identify jaguar and leopard separately. But if you are not interested in that field, probably you may not. Right? So you don't keep that thing in mind. But a convolutional neural network, if you train it to that, identifying Panthera family, definitely it will give you a higher accuracy than you. Yes, correct.
Yeah, that's a good explanation. So I think the time is now 11:20. We are running out of time. So I just want to mention that that EdScope program from initiated in 2018. So sir, can you please elaborate that program to us? So I think that's a good opportunity for all the attendees and all the attendees all over the world to recognize this. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So right. So we have an institute called EdXcope, and we have more than 2,000 students up to now, right? So we have actually we have courses, online courses. We are conducting online courses in different domains like management, English, mathematics, and AI related things, right? So we have several free courses even available, so you can have a look like Python, OOP, image processing, introduction to deep learning, introduction to machine learning, academic English, supply chain management. And we have a very advanced, latest, up-to-date course available for AI related, AI related courses, right? Yeah. Right. So let me share you the screen. Right. Okay. So we have several free courses, and we have several AI related courses like image processing, machine learning, deep learning. So here we are going to cover everything from very basic. So this is actually recommended for a beginner, right? Recommended for a beginner who's trying to start the career with AI, right? So we have basic course from very basic levels to advanced level courses, and we have management courses and other courses for affordable prices, and they are online, so you can watch. I mean, you can sit back, relax, have your meal, and you can stay at home safely, and you can attend to these courses in our EdXcope platform. So I will ask the organizers to share the flyer with you. So you can click on these links, and you will be redirected to, you can click on these links, and you will be redirected to our course contents and our websites as well. So you can apply from there to our courses. So you will be then you will then receive emails and notifications related to our course details, and you will be enrolled to this course. So I will share this document with you. What you have to do is click on the course, and you will be redirected to that course and details and everything. Thank you very much, Vidura, for that.
Yeah, and also I will share the PDF with this WhatsApp group that you have attended, so you can directly link to the course and say what is happening. So yeah, I think you all get a clear understanding what is the artificial intelligence, deep learning, machine learning, how we can use these things. So yeah, now the time for the Q&A session. So in Q&A session, all can ask. I mean, you can unmute your mic and ask your question, or just type the problem in the chat section. So now I'm going to go to the problems with that. You know that in our registration form we have asked a specific question. Any questions you have to ask specific before the meeting. So I mean, we have a question. the question is like this. I think that person has asked the same thing in detail. Yeah. Is it possible to perform parallel tasking output in Python or any other computer language?
Yes, indeed, it's possible. And we have several options: multitasking, multiprocessing, and multi-threading. So in different programming languages, it's called differently. But in Python, we call it multi-threading. So multi-threading is simply like, in your computer, you have several cores, not in your CPU, you don't have a single core, right? So you have multiple cores. So what we can do, we can assign in the same program. So if you are, let's say you are going to write a program in Python, so you can, in the same program, you can write, let's say, two loops, two while loops, two infinite loops. So you know that, if you are familiar in programming, you know that you will never run two while loops at the same time. You can't do that. I mean, two infinite loops at the same time, two different, not nested, but not a while loop inside, but two different while loops, let's say infinite loops at the same time. You have like first, you have to end the first loop and then come to the next loop. But if you use multi-threading, there's a topic called multi-threading in Python. So you can run two while loops, for example, in the same time, parallelly. So that's called multi-threading. So what it basically does is, it's going to assign these two tasks into two cores in your computer. So they will run parallelly. So that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. I think the person is in Sriram. Yeah. I think he asked the same problem in the today. I mean the
Sriram, you can search about in the Google probably Python multi-threading. So it will probably guide you to your answer. Right, Python multi-threading. There are lots of tutorials available. Right. So we'll find several examples in the internet, so you can follow that.
Yeah. So that parallel tasking can be used to make a robot. I mean, normal program is okay. I mean, that what he is asking the second question. Can be possible?
Yeah. You can do the same. Yes.
Same thing, isn't it?
Yeah, the same thing can be implemented.
Another thing is, in which programming languages do we make virtual AI assistant with all the graphics?
AI assistant with all the graphics. No, the thing is, you can't do it using a single programming language, right? The thing is now even let's say a very simple program like this website, right? So now this website, you are going to see nice little graphics, right? These buttons, tabs, and everything. But thing is, that's only the front end, right? So in any application, you will find two things like front end and the back end, right? So back end is not beautiful, but front end is the UI, right? So if you are using some like virtual assistant with graphics, yeah. So that's something that you have to do with like the React Native or whatever the thing or whatever the back end, sorry, whatever the front end, you can use any tool, any software to kind of get these visualized, I mean, these graphics and these nice buttons and everything. But behind you have to have a backend. So backend probably you can, if you are using AI, most of the backends, yes, almost all, you have to create the backend using Python, right? So that backend where you have to integrate your neural networks, your natural language processing models and everything, and all the neural machine learning models and all the pre-processing steps, everything should be included behind that Python backend, right? And then you can use any kind of software like even HTML with CSS or Node, I mean the React Native or any other thing, you can develop the front end, right? So that's how it's done. I mean, simply, but you can't do it using a single language. No, there are no any, kind of softwares to create these things. So there will be always two things like the front end and back end, right? So those graphics and everything, that's what you are going to find in the front end. The coding, machine learning modules, that the functionality, everything will be there in the back end.
Yeah. So other than that, this question is an interesting question. Let me read the question. So, is it possible to make holograms like Iron Man movies in real?
Yeah, but not like even in films, right? Not like even films, but it's totally about the display, right? Nothing else, right? So if you search in the internet hologram displays, you will find, right? So if you can buy it, yes, probably you can you can project the videos like holograms, right? Right? Yes, it's possible, right? So what you can do is, right? So there are hologram displays, right? Right? And also, I'm not sure about that. But anyway, what I wanted to say to you is that, yeah, hologram displays are available. I'm not having the idea about the price, right? I'm not having the idea about the price. But anyway, these things are available. And like if you want to get videos and everything, probably you can buy these displays and thing. But the thing is, using Python or any programming language, you can't build this. It's about hardware, right? So you have to buy these kind of holograms, and then you can move with your hand, and everything is possible, but not up to the extent shown in the movies. Not that level, but this kind of level is already there in the world, right? Got it? Right. So you can see even, right? This kind of level is achieved, but not the level in the films, as far as I know. So
Yeah.
hologram displays are there, you can buy it.
So there are two questions. Since we are running out of time, let's just answer two questions and we have to end the meeting. So if someone loves to get into the AI field, how can they get started?
Yeah.
Can you explain? You already explained, and they have asked. Not like the masters thing.
Yeah. So when it comes to AI is not like web development, right? Now there are hot topics like web development, mobile app development. No, AI is not like that. In AI, if you want to learn AI, right? The most important thing is that you have to have two main things, more than that, but you have to have the theoretical knowledge with you, right? That means the theoretical knowledge that includes maths, right? I'm not talking about simple maths, but calculus, right? Statistics, right? Probability theories, right? So theory parts, you have to have a good understanding about the theory, the optimization algorithms, the statistics models, and the probability theories, calculus, right? So there are several things to be, completed. You have to tick those things, right? So those things you have to have. And the other thing, you have to have the practical implementation knowledge, right? Knowing the theory is not going to do anything. Right? You know the theory, okay, I'm master of, I know calculus, I know statistics, I know probability theory, I know everything, I know optimization, gradient descent algorithm, backpropagation, I know everything. But still, you can't do anything. Why? You can't implement it. You can't implement a neural network. You have the knowledge, but you can't implement it in the real world. You can't implement it in a code, using a code. You can't do that, right? Therefore, the second thing, you have to have the practical implementation. The practical skill, probably Python, the implementation on Python, right? The software platforms like TensorFlow, scikit-learn, OpenCV, Keras, PyTorch, those kind of software platforms with Python. So you have to have the implementation knowledge. If you know the theory of a neural network, everything, activation functions, neural network layers, the optimizations, loss functions, and everything, you know everything about neural network, how it works, the theory. And if you can implement the same neural network using TensorFlow in Python, then you are a complete machine learning, deep learning developer. So two things, right? So what I can suggest you, don't start with YouTube. Don't you start with YouTube, since YouTube, you can't get both the theory and the practical. Yes, you will get the coding knowledge and everything, yes, right? But I will suggest you these set of books, right? If you are going to start, right? It's quite hard to start with a book, right? But it's the correct way, right? So these things cover the theory, both in machine learning. The first two are about neural networks, the introduction to neural networks. Very great, I mean, great books, right? For us, for a beginner, right? But quite hard, right? Quite hard to get the idea, right? With that, yes, you can use any other platform and get the knowledge about these software platforms like TensorFlow, Keras, Scikit-learn, OpenCV, those kind of libraries, right? So that's where you are going to find the practical implementation knowledge. So if you have both, right, you can do it. So you have to have these two, theory and practical both. And the most important thing, in addition to that, you have to have the passion, right?
Yeah. So
yes.
So the last question is Intel processor better or Apple M1 processor better for AI training?
The thing is, Apple still, they are not officially supporting these software platforms. Yes, they have the neural processor inside M1 and even M2. They have the neural processor, but still they are not supporting TensorFlow, Keras. I mean TensorFlow or PyTorch. TensorFlow and PyTorch, these are the leading software platforms of neural networks, right? But still it's not supported officially. They have developed the hardware, but the TensorFlow is provided by Google. Kera, I mean, the PyTorch software platform, neural network implementation platform is provided by Facebook, but they haven't released the update for this M1 processor, all right, integrated for, I mean, for integrating TensorFlow and thing, right? So it's not, still it's not available, but soon it will be available. But for now, you can, it's not about CPU. If you can get NVIDIA 280 or 1080 GPU, you are fine to go, right? So it's about GPU. If you can find a GPU, yes, you can do it. But soon the neural processor will be, I mean, these will be supported too. Then I think that it will be better. Still not supported.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the question's over. So if anybody want to ask a question, we can give half a minute to proceed with that. Okay, so seems to me there is no more question. So yeah, actually this was a great session. You all accept. So actually I want to personally thank for Mr. Takshil Tilanganayake, sir. It's a great pleasure to welcome you, and you have given a great explanation about AI to beginners and all around. And I want to a little bit apologize for from the attendees, because some were telling that there are network issues regarding FB Live and YouTube Live. Sorry for that. We are experiencing network issues, and the feedback form just provided in the chat section. You can fill it, and as we are promised, we give you free e-certificates to each one who registered in each one who participated in this event. And this is not the end. This is just the beginning. Okay, so there are 4 weeks to cover regarding this massive area. So there are many quizzes and competitions, and there are many events yet to come. Okay, so stay with us. Stay tuned with us. So yes, sir. And I wish you, so Ms. Sakshila, so sir, I wish you a huge success in your career in future. And I want to thank all the participants and my organizing team. And yeah, they did a great work in our event. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Vidura. One small thing, I missed a question in the chat. So asked by Charit, what's the unsupervised machine learning approach to estimation of continuous characteristic? Assume I need to calculate the algal Bloom conservation using UAVs in the supervised approach. Yeah, Charit, you can use clustering. You can use clustering and identify the area, right? What you are expecting. Or else you can use a autoencoder. You can use autoencoder, and also you can get the area highlighted. So those are the 2 approaches as I'm suggesting, right? Yes, Vidura, and thank you very much. And I wish you all a bright future and all the best for your future endeavors, right? For your team and your startup, as well as all the participants, right? So I wish you all the best and stay tuned with AI. I mean, this is the field, right? So if you follow this field, definitely there will be a huge demand for you in the future. So I wish you all the best for your future, everyone, and hope to see you all again.